Okay, so I recently just came across this on Twitter right here. So you can see it was tweeted out a couple hours ago. Speaker Pelosi says Biden does not have the power to cancel student loan debt, as some Democrats, led by Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, are urging him to do. Let's take a look at what she has to say.
People think that the President of the United States has the power for debt forgiveness. He does not. He can postpone, he can delay, but he does not have that power. That has to be an act of Congress. And I don't even like to call it forgiveness, because that implies a transgression. It's not to be forgiven. Just freeing people from those obligations. So the question of who gets forgiven, to use the term of art that is out there, is a debate. Do we use whatever money there is for the broadest base of support of those with more people with even less debt, or fewer people with more debt? That's a policy discussion. But the difference between the president can't do it. So that's not even a discussion. Not everybody realizes that. But the president can only postpone, delay, but not forgive.
Yeah, so as I was saying throughout that video, she is 100% incorrect with what she's saying. We actually see here, because Biden, he has promised, he promised on the campaign trail to cancel $10,000 in student debt per person and forgive debt for students from historically Black colleges, universities, and public colleges. As president, he has not yet followed through on either promise. The Department of Education has canceled debt for defrauded borrowers and borrowers with disabilities, but that's a very small fraction of the $1.7 trillion that is owed in student loan debt. So it's a very sleazy move. I apologize for that. My air conditioner just comes on and off in this hotel, like I said a couple days ago. But I want to get to this video right here, this video from More Perfect Union, a great account. You guys should follow them. I'll put a link to this tweet down below. This was back in February. It's got over 1 million views, so it's pretty popular. But I wanted to explain this. This is from a Harvard debt expert who lays out the argument that Biden does have the power to cancel student debt through executive order.
I'm going to talk about one simple question. Is it legal for President Biden to cancel student debt? The answer is yes. He can do it today without any other action by Congress. Let me explain why. Imagine you lend me $20. It's your $20. You can ask me to pay it back in full, in half, or not at all. Student debt cancellation works the same way. When someone takes out a federal student loan, they're borrowing money from the government, and the Constitution gives Congress the authority to control property of the government, such as debts owed to it. When Congress gave the Secretary of Education the authority to make or back student loans, it also gave the Secretary the broad and unrestricted power to cancel or write down that debt. This power was established under the Higher Education Act in 1965. That law gives the Secretary of Education the authority to compromise, waive, or release any right, title, claim, lien, or demand, however acquired. The Secretary also has the authority not simply to compromise debt, but to modify a student loan to zero. Secretary Betsy DeVos actually used this authority to cancel out a limited amount of student debt. Now,
So yeah, the rest of the video is like 3.5 minutes long, but that was you get the point. That's the idea, that the president can cancel student debt with executive order. So all this wishy-washiness from people like Biden and Pelosi. Now, to Schumer's credit, he is pushing Biden to do this. I think he could be doing more. Like, he could bring his resolution calling on Biden to do it to a Senate floor vote, and he could whip his entire caucus into line to do it. Of course, you have to have some holdouts, but it's worth it, I would say. But Biden, he's like trying to be wishy-washy and saying, "Oh, I'm reviewing my legal options." No, you have your legal, she just gave you your legal option right there. And you have Pelosi running for cover for him. And not only did she say this in this infuriating video, she also apparently said I don't even know there was another video. I'm not even going to bother playing that. Pelosi also questioned the policy wisdom of canceling student loan debt. Suppose your child just decided they, at this time, do not want to go to college, but you're paying taxes to forgive somebody else's obligations. You may not be happy about that. This Yeah, this is called a straw man, right? Like she goes into policy wisdom. Okay, but let's question the policy wisdom right here. Okay, what is the policy wisdom right there? Oh, well, would you look at that? 52% of respondents in favor of blanket student loan forgiveness. Last I checked, that was a majority right there. So yeah, there you go. Maybe and you know, okay, maybe you want to say, okay, 52, that's only a slim majority, so maybe you don't want to go all in on that. Okay, maybe that's your argument. Okay, fair enough. Okay, well, $50,000, that's what progressives in Congress are pushing him to do. I'm sure that would have quite a bit more support than that. So yeah, so it's not so it is the policy wisdom. It is not only is it policy wisdom, it is politically wisdom, but it is wise politically, not just from a policy standpoint. Because by not doing this, that is popular, you are making it more likely that the Republicans will win in 2022 and in 2024. And you know, just for the policy wisdom part of it, because a straw man that opponents of student debt cancellation often uses, oh, well, you're just going to be helping the rich kids out. And the irony is that most of these politicians who use this argument love the rich, like they take money from billionaires and corporations. They're the ones who take the most money from them, and yet they're the ones making these arguments. It's called a straw man, and it's called a hypocrisy burn. They don't actually care about the argument they're making. They're just using it to try and, again, straw man your argument instead of actually responding to the substance of it. But yeah, there was a study, this was back in February, this one, Common Dreams. New economic study demolishes myth about student debt parroted by Joe Biden, although it could have been parodied because it was a completely, again, false, it was a myth, so it was essentially a parody right here. So this was during a town hall back in February that Biden did on CNN. He doesn't want to forgive billions of dollars for people of debt for people who have gone to Harvard and Yale and Penn. And so he's just essentially saying, yeah, I'm just erasing the rich kids' debt. Okay, well, don't you think it's likely that if they're going to those colleges, that means their families are probably pretty wealthy. So don't you think it's more likely that their parents will be paying for their college? I would. And there was a study right here that said this study shows this study notes the marked racial disparities in student debt, with Black people suffering both the largest increase over time and the highest median amount owed in 2019. Asian students experienced the worst debt inequality in 2019. Although their median debt was below 20,000, their average debt balance was almost 40,000. It was like more than twice that amount. And this is a quote from the study right here. Because low and lower middle income communities see the worst debt to income ratios, they would see the largest portion of their income freed up through student debt forgiveness. Young adult borrowers in low and lower middle income communities would receive an outsized share of forgiveness in aggregate dollars compared to middle and upper income communities. So there you go. This is just this is Pelosi running for cover for Biden as he goes back on his promises. And again, straw manning the arguments of student debt forgiveness instead of actually telling the truth about it and telling the truth that she is serving her donors in the financial industry because and that she doesn't want this to happen. Let me see if I can pull this up. Yep, here we go. This was back last month in June. This is the final point I want to make. This is back in June. The Washington, D.C. City Council unanimously passed a resolution calling on President Biden to cancel student debt. They were just like the latest in a few doing it, such as Philly, Boston, Cambridge, I assume Cambridge, Massachusetts. So these are just several cities that have passed resolutions calling on Biden to cancel student debt. This is definitely a good avenue to go down. So like if you're in your community and this is the path you're interested in taking, definitely go to your city council and call on and talk to your city council members, tell them to pass a resolution or support a resolution that would call on President Biden to do this, because this is a good way to hold him accountable, because if enough cities do it, eventually he'll have to listen. And, you know, all politics is local, they say. So this is definitely an avenue that is worth going down. And also this works for plenty of other issues as well. But this one in particular, if this is an issue you're passionate about, then definitely I would encourage you to go to your city councils and organize in your communities and call on your city councils to press Biden to do this. So there's a little bit of a hopeful note to leave you on right there, because several cities are taking action. And so while it may seem grim with politicians like Pelosi running for cover, we see signs of hope here with cities like DC, Philly, and Boston taking this action. And your city could be next if you get organized. All right. Well, that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Like this video, subscribe for more. Check out my last couple of videos over here, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.